All right, we'll go ahead and get started. We had a lot of questions in the last session, and I don't know if anyone, hopefully, maybe you stuck around for the next one. If you saw the first one, we're going to do the same sort of simple presentation, very short. We want to get to our student panelists' perspectives so they can really share about their experience here at Chapman as students that you can relate to. So my name is Dave Sunby. I'm the Director of Residence Life and First Year Experience here at Chapman. Thank you for being here today. Very grateful to have you in this online format to share a bit more about Chapman. We're going to be talking about the first year experience at Chapman with a particular focus on residence life, but we can't talk about the first year experience at Chapman University without talking about Fenestra. Fenestra, what's that? We get that question a lot when we talk about it. You may have heard this term by now. Fenestra is Latin for window. We talk about opening your window of opportunity. We really want students to take advantage of everything that Chapman has to offer, academically, socially, thinking about your career, vocation down the road. We want you to get involved and really take advantage of that. This little, I don't know if my mouse will show up here, in this symbol, this window here in the middle is what we call a fenestra, iconic imagery from around campus that you'll see when you're on campus or if you've been on campus before. Our Fenestra program has 4 primary components. Orientation is the first one for many students when they have a chance to get to know other people and really get the lay of the land here at campus. Living learning communities are another critical piece of our Fenestra program. We place our first year students by academic, college, or school. And then we really hope that you develop your academic identity during your first year. You really understand what you're passionate about, what you want to continue in, even if that means changing your path from when you came in. We want you to help really clarify that in the first year. And then we want you to get engaged with the community. We mean that both on campus with all the opportunities to get involved here at Chapman, but also with Old Town Orange and with the larger Orange County and Southern California community. So I'm going to hand it off now to Jamie Gutierrez, our Assistant Director for Residence Life and First Year Experience, to talk a bit about what's in it for you in this experience.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here with us. So just like any educational program and things that we facilitate out of our office, we hope that you leave with, things that will make you an amazing person. So these are the 5 points that we really strive for in the first year experience. We hope that you have a sense of academic citizenship and membership in the Chapman community of scholars, progress towards academic and career clarity, satisfactory academic performance. I think especially with these 3, you're here to come to school, and we hope that you're doing well in your academics, you're striving in your academics, and that you really are engaging in those opportunities to set you up for success that's going to help you in your future career. And then the last 2, meaningful connection with your peers and a sense of belonging to the university, we think is extremely vital for students to really feel like they are a part of Chapman and a part of that community so that they are making friends, developing relationships with faculty in the classroom, staff, really making sure that you are becoming a part of that fabric of what is the Chapman community.
Thanks, Jamie. Very briefly, first year community overview for next year. We are planning on having doubles for all first year students. If you've been exploring Chapman for a bit, you may know that historically we do triple a lot of our first year housing, but given the current restrictions from the state and the pandemic situation, we've chosen to house first year students in doubles for the upcoming year. What that means is that we anticipate that Prawley-Sodaro, Henley, Glass, Sandu, and Moreland Halls will be all first year students. And there is a chance that we may need to use, depending on our incoming class size and numbers, some of Davis, Harris, or Glass apartments for first year housing. We're still very much committed to our Fenestra community, and we'll be doing Fenestra by floor. You may have heard that in the past, we sometimes housed entire schools or colleges like Schmid or Atala in a single building. Now, given the size of our incoming classes, and also we're kind of moving this way already with the incoming class size, but the fact that we are doing doubles, we don't have quite as many bed spaces in each building. We're going to be doing Fenestra by floor. What that means is that we'll still have connections across all those different Fenestra communities in different buildings. Your RA will still understand your community and be committed to supporting your academic identity development within that community. But that you may have, say, 1 floor of Dodge in a building and 2 floors of Arduous and a floor of Schmid and a floor of Crane. So it'll also give you a great opportunity to connect with people outside of the classroom, people that you may not be spending as much time around specifically in your academic program or that you met through orientation. So enough from me. I'm sure what you really want to hear is from our students. So we have some student panelists today, and I'm going to hand it back to Jamie Gutierrez to facilitate our conversation with students.
Thank you, Dave. Okay, well, I'm going to have my 4 panelists introduce themselves, and if you all can just turn on your camera, I'm going to have Daniel go first. So if you could just, give your name, your major, where you're from, and what your current role is in our department for folks so that they know who you are.
Sure thing. Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel Mejia. I'm a junior psychology major, minoring in neuroscience, history, and biology. And I am a returning orientation coordinator for family and transfer orientation and a new tour guide. So love being able to connect with students. If I'm remembering the other question, I can't remember right now. I'm so sorry, but I will go ahead and give it over to Ellie.
Hello, everyone. I am a sophomore in the School of Communication, more specifically strategic and corporate communication with a minor in PR. And I am from Pasadena, California, so not too far from here. And I am currently an RA for Prolly Sidaro.
Hi, everyone. My name is Leo Ortega. I'm from Los Angeles, California. I'm a senior majoring in political science, minoring in law, justice, and social control. Currently in Chapman, I serve as the lead resident advisor in Henley Hall.
And my name is Josh Modulin. I am from Ventura, California. I am a senior public relations and advertising major, double majoring also in strategic and corporate communication. And I currently serve as the lead resident advisor in the K. So I'll pass it back off to Jamie.
Thank you. All right, we're going to start first with Daniel. Daniel's going to talk a little bit about his experience in orientation as a transfer student. And then he'll talk a little bit about his roles as being an orientation leader and orientation coordinator and what that experience has been like supporting incoming new students.
Yeah, so I'll answer this question in 2 parts. Again, I'm a commuter student, I'm a transfer student, and I'm a first generation student. So a few different variables going for me. So I was a little worried going in that maybe I wouldn't feel as supported, but that is definitely the complete opposite of what I experienced. I transferred in the spring of 2019. So I had 1 day as my kind of orientation, and I absolutely had a blast because I was able to meet amazing people, amazing orientation leaders, and really get connected with already financial aid counselors, with academic advising counselors. So just every resource I could want, every resource that my parents were kind of worried about, everything was just kind of given to me. Everything was just, I just felt so supported. And now 2 years down the line, I'm just thriving here. And it's all because of that first day. So that takes me to that transition to being part of the team. Our whole purpose is getting students connected, just like I was, right? Getting students engaged and adapted to the new environment. Whether you're first year, rather, coming straight from high school, whether you're a transfer student, whatever it might be, we want you to feel really close and connected to your peers, to your students, to your peers, to your professors, to your resources, whether that be financial aid counselors, like I said, academic advising, all of that different thing. All of that, we want you to really feel engaged and connected from day one. And that is really what we thrive for, whether that be during 1 day in spring orientation, whether that be during the week in the fall orientation, all the programs, everything we do, all the training that we give to the orientation leaders is all to answer all your questions, to make you feel connected and to walk you through how to get connected to Chapman. We want you to have this be your home, whether you're a commuter student, whether you're living on campus, it's the exact same. So in order to do that, we really need to be there for you. And that's exactly what we pride ourselves in doing. So I'll go ahead and give it back to Jamie.
Thank you, Daniel, for speaking about orientation. I'm now going to have Ellie, Leo, and Josh talk a little bit about their experience as first-year students living in our residential communities, and then talking a little bit about their experience as RAs. So I'll have Leo go first.
Awesome. Thank you, Jamie. So my first year experience, unforgettable for sure. The only thing is kind of like what Daniel touched in on, I really wish I took advantage of that opportunity of where I had hallmates, roommates that were the same major, having similar professors or taking similar professors, same course load and all of that. I was pretty shy. I was a first gen student as well, pretty nervous about this whole scene. But now that I am a resident advisor, I'm looking back and wishing I did take advantage of that my first year. As a resident advisor, I help serve the residents I oversee, help them with whatever it is, emotional support, academic support, even helping them get like internships or jobs, like just connecting them with different people that I may know on campus, whether it's people that have already graduated, current people that are in the same major, whatever it is. I'm sort of a front line of support for them in their hall that I oversee. I love this position. One of my main mantras is I'm a servant and I'm proud to be. And I think this position really helps me do that, helps me live a life of purpose, live a life of service. And that's what I've really enjoyed during or being a resident advisor during these past few years at Chapman.
As a first year living in a living learning community, I lived my first year in Henley Hall, which at the time was housing all School of Communication and business students. And so all of my roommates and all my neighbors were basically in the exact same classes as I were. They were the same majors. So it was really easy to work on projects. It was really great for networking because like later up, you never know, like I might hit up a couple of my neighbors that I lived next to my freshman year and be like, hey, let's connect professionally. But a great thing about living in living learning communities is the big study sessions. It was easy to knock on doors and be like, hey, do you want to study together? If I had any questions about signing up for classes, I could always go and ask my RA, who was the exact same major as I was, and ask for like class and professor recommendations. And as an RA currently, and for the past 3 years, I've hosted numerous professional and academic programs for professional and academic development. I've helped some of my residents work on their cover letters and resume workshops. And like Leo said, try to connect people to connect my residents to the people who could help them get internships. And yeah, I've even had I remember my first year living in Henley Hall, my RA had a program where some professionals from like the marketing industry came in. And I know that a couple people on my floor actually got some informational interviews, and one of them actually got an internship offer later from that. So definitely a lot of plus sides to living in a living and learning community. I'll pass it on to Ellie to share experience.
All right, thank you, Josh. So as a student during my first year, I think I really enjoyed my experience overall, and I felt comfortable almost within like the first week just because of how well Res Life and the community did in welcoming everyone. And funnily enough, one of my favorite aspects of living in dorms was actually having a really great resource there, which was our RA. And Josh was actually my RA my first year, and he was always such a welcoming face, and it was great being able to run into him all the time during the lounge and just be able to reach out and ask questions to him. And it was actually because of him that I applied for this role, and he helped me with my cover letter and my application and all that, and that just, it really warmed my heart. And so RAs are also there as a resource to help you, and it's so great to have them there, and they're just a really great resource to reach out overall. And as a student, I really just enjoyed living in dorms and having them there. As an RA right now, I kind of want to go into what Leo said of like being a servant and proud. I think being an RA is probably the most fulfilling job you can have on campus because you actively play a part in the community and you actively contribute to it. And this is something that I'm so proud of and that I really enjoy as my job. And, you know, people usually think RAs are only there to enforce the rules, but that's not true. We're also here to play a part in the community and just be there for you. And it's just in our genuine interest to try to help you. And so that's something I'm really proud of being an RA as well. And I'll pass it back now as well.
Thank you, everyone. All right, now I want all 4 of you to talk a little bit about academics and how you were able to develop your academic identity through Fenestra, through residence life, and other opportunities that you've taken on campus. So again, I'll start with Daniel and we'll just go down the line.
Yeah, sounds good. So keeping in mind again that I was a transfer student, first generation, and a commuter student, you know, the thought might be going through your head of, well, Fenestra doesn't apply to me. Well, that's not true. It definitely does apply to you because it's exactly encompassing everything about first year, right? Your first year at Chapman is what Fenestra is all about. So I really did feel supported, even though I was a commuter, right? I was a commuter, first generation, didn't know anything about what was going on, you know, in academics, but I felt supported through my classmates, through my peers, through all the resources. So I'll go through them. The first one being our average class size of 23 students and a faculty to student ratio of 13:1. That's a small classroom. So what that means is that you really are getting connected with your peers and with your professors. That gives you the opportunity for professors to become mentors like they have been for me, where that be informing you of internship opportunities or getting you connected to potential grad schools, whether that be just sitting down with you and hearing your grievances and hearing just what's going on in your head right now, right? That is really what the opportunity of is when there's so many professors that will become your mentors here. Again, getting connected is very easy because you're with your peers, you're doing projects, you're hanging out with them, all that good stuff. And there's also all these resources, whether it be peer advising, which is specific to your major, or academic advising, which is more general. There's so many resources to help you. Again, the testing, tutoring, and learning center to help you, just study and get help that you need for classes. All of these things really are what helped me in my first semester and then my entire first year. If it wasn't for these resources, maybe it wouldn't have been the same, but just the fact that Chapman just offers all of that on a silver platter is really just what makes the difference, because I know that I've been able to thrive because of everything that I kind of had, all the support I felt in my first year. So that's definitely what it is like from a commuter and transfer student point of view, but I'll let Leo and the rest of the guys talk about what academics is like.
Thank you, Daniel. Just like Daniel said, Chapman really offers everything on a silver platter. That's so perfect, because I started off as a STEM major. I started off majoring in kinesiology. I had heard the STEM field was the place to go, the place to be, all of that. However, I took my first year courses. My RA was a science major, got advice from them. And as the year went on, I went into my sophomore year, I realized that I don't know if I really wanted to be doing this. The courses, while I wasn't struggling crazy bad in those courses, I just wasn't succeeding at the level I felt like I could. I didn't feel like the classroom culture, the classroom discussion was for me. While it is for others, I didn't feel like it was specifically for me. I spoke to my academic advisor, my RA, some professors. I took some elective courses that were in different fields, different departments. And then eventually I got into the political science, or the Wilkinson College, majored in political science. And then now I've been really zoned in on going to law school. And the biggest thing I would want to mention about this academic development of mine in Chapman is just what Daniel said. Chapman offered me so many opportunities that I took advantage of, that I went to this professor and say, hey, this is kind of what I want to do. This is what I like doing. What can we make of this? And the professors, my academic advisor, they really took the time to invest in me, draw out this 4-year plan. Okay, take this course, take that course. That way it can prepare you for the LSAT, law school, X, Y, and Z. And I would say that my academic identity development definitely would not have happened without the support of Chapman and the resources that they have. So yeah, I would just say the biggest advice I could give is really reflect, travel inward, and see like, what are your hobbies, what are your passions, and then just run with it. Pick a major, take different classes, and then just utilize the professors. Daniel touched a bit on it as well. The small classroom sizes, that's major. It's huge. You get that connection with your professor, and then they really help you out and invest their time in you. But yeah, I'll pass it on to Josh to share his experience with academics at Chapman.
Thanks, Leo. I feel like my academic development through the Fenestra communities, living learning communities, was really thanks to utilizing the resources that were given to me in the residence halls. So specifically my RA and my FCC, which is my Fenestra community coordinator. So I entered at Chapman as an SCC major, strategic and corporate communication, as I mentioned earlier. And after taking a couple weeks of the classes, like I was enjoying my classes, but I realized like it wasn't necessarily explicitly what I wanted to do, and it didn't really line up with my career goals, but I also did not want to drop the major because I was enjoying it. And so I talked to my RA about exploring different majors and different programs, maybe taking some classes. And after talking to my FCC, who is a Dodge major, she was like, hey, maybe you should check out the PR and ad program. And so I did some more research, and I realized that lined, or was more in line with my career goals after graduation. And because she was in Dodge, she helped me with my application. She gave me some good application tips and connected me to the right people I needed to talk to. So I got to talk to the heads of the program in Dodge and kind of share my passion and ask some questions. And I even have them look over my application. And then eventually look at me today, like I'm wearing my Dodge shirt. I am in the program right now. So basically, I really developed academically by utilizing the resources that Chapman provided me, and just, being vulnerable and asking for help and kind of bouncing off my ideas and my passions to my RA and my FCC. And they helped me explore my academic interests and helped me get to where I am today. And then I'll pass it on to Ellie.
All right, so a theme we've kind of all been hearing around these panels is connecting using resources, and I 100% agree. I think during your time at Chapman, I think you should absolutely reach out to all the resources that you think you need, just don't be afraid. When I first came to Chapman, I was really afraid of how I'd spend my time here and make the most out of it, and I was really nervous about that. But being able to go to the Career Center that Chapman offers, I was able to use all these different great resources. Like they'll check your resume, they'll check your cover letter. Those are some really great resources that you can use. And you don't even have to know anything about how to build those type of stuff. They will help you regardless. And they'll teach you how to use Handshake, LinkedIn, and help you with getting financially ready. All those things are really important. And I feel like they really prepared me to move on as well. In addition, another resource that is really great that you will all have are professors. Professors are always trying to help you. You just have to reach out to them. For example, during the office hours, I used to go into like my professor's office hours all the time just to ask for random help. And they are there to help you. They are a resource there to help you. So do not be ashamed to ask for help. That's why they are there. In addition, Chapman also offers just a lot of different resources. During my first week at Chapman, during orientation week, I was just so lost, and I'm the type of person who just like needs to ask questions just straight on. And so I would ask like 3 different resources for help, and they were all so helpful. I would ask like my orientation leader, my RA, and just any other staff on campus. They're really there to help and support you. So do not be afraid to reach out and use those resources. And I'll hand it back right now.
Awesome, thank you. All right, and then I have one other thing I want you all to touch upon before we head into the Q&A portion of our presentation. So I want all 4 of you to talk a little bit about your experience getting involved in your first year at Chapman. So community engagement within the Chapman community, and even if you've taken advantage of maybe some community resources and how you've maybe gotten involved there. So Daniel, you're up first.
Yeah, of course. So one of the biggest things that we can take a part of is our club fair that happens in the 2nd or 3rd week of every semester. And that's the biggest thing that I utilized, especially in my first semester when I was coming in. I wanted to get involved from the first second I came on campus, and that was my big holy grail, everything that was kind of before me. And, typical, I signed up for everything I could. And as the semester progressed, I really found what I really wanted. So whether that be university program board, which is like a one part of our student council here at Chapman, whether that be the Panther soccer club, whether that be the ice hockey team, whether that be signing up to be an orientation leader, whether that be part of the the French and the German clubs, a whole bunch of different things, right? That's where I kind of started finding my footing and really getting involved, really getting engaged. That led to more and more opportunities to become an orientation coordinator, which is my position right now, to become a tour guide, to get into research, both in the biology and the psychology department, whether to, now finally feel comfortable enough to really go out there and make my own thing. I'm establishing our first interdisciplinary and undergraduate research and creative journal. So that's very exciting. So there's so many things. I know everyone else is going to really talk about this, but the more you get engaged, so many more doors will just kind of open and open and open, and you're going to really be getting engaged very, very quickly here. That's really what is the main focal point here at Chapman. Kind of like what Jamie was saying during the presentation is, not only is your academics super strong, but we really want you to be an engaged member of our community. So again, whether it be joining a club, joining Greek life, getting an on-campus job, getting into research, getting into an organization, a society, so many different ways to get involved. really that's just the point of getting in. And remember, this goes for everyone, but more like especially transfer students and commuters. You get out what you put in. So really making sure that you give the effort, really making sure that you're getting involved and getting engaged to supplement your academics. That's how you're really going to be able to get engaged and really feel like this is your home. And from there, you're just going to flourish. I absolutely guarantee it. And so I'm excited to hear what the rest of our panelists have to say, but I'll go ahead and give it to Leo this time.
Awesome. Thank you, Daniel. The biggest thing when I came into my first year was reaching out, connecting, and really expanding this network. I was told by a mentor, your network is your net worth. And I really wanted to make sure I connected to a lot of people. The biggest thing I did my first year was reach out to my resident advisor. Once I reached out to my resident advisor, just like Josh mentioned a little bit earlier, they had programs inviting people from outside in the same industry, just different things, social programs, getting us connected. Once I got interacted with my resident advisor and built that nice and close relationship, one thing led to another, which led to another. And just like Daniel said, just doors just started opening. And then after that, my second year, my third year, and now I'm in my fourth year. And I just feel like I'm so connected on this campus, close-knit community. Everyone is so welcoming. Everyone's always accepting me for who I am, the identities I hold. And I just would say, like, any advice in your first year, just reach out, understand that everyone's trying to make those connections just like you. And don't be scared to make that or say that first hello. Pass it on to Josh to share his.
Thanks, Leo. So when I originally came as a first year, I was on the Chapman men's swim and dive team, and I really thought that was the only thing that I had time for. But I soon came to realize that part of the Chapman experience was all the opportunities to get involved. And so I actually ended up joining my dorm's community council. We put on a lot of different events, but I also got a job, and I was working as an office assistant, working with the RAs and some of the other people in my community. I also joined a club. Daniel talked a little bit about Club Rush and the kind of thing there. So I joined the Public Relations and Advertising Association. And then by the end of my first year, I actually became the co-president. And so all these things, like, I really didn't think that I had time for when I first joined Chapman, but I soon came to realize, like, I got out what I put in, and I utilized all the opportunities given to me that Chapman gave. So I'll pass on to Ellie.
All right, so kind of like what everyone else has mentioned, I also joined a lot of clubs during my first year at Chapman because it was a really easy way to meet new people and find other like-minded individuals. Also, I joined a lot of clubs because in high school, I grew up in a majority Asian community with like 70% Asian. It was like insane numbers. And coming to Chapman, I was a little afraid that I wouldn't be able to keep in touch with my culture or wouldn't be able to fit in, but that was absolutely not the case. Chapman has a lot of clubs, especially with diversity and inclusion. And just being able to join those clubs and being able to keep in touch with my culture while also learning more about Chapman and being a part of the school as well was just so great. And there's just so many diverse clubs that I would just tell every incoming freshman or any incoming student to just join as many clubs as you can. They don't all have to be hits, but like just join as many as you can so that you can get a footing into the school. In addition, I also got a lot involved with staff and professors a lot. So just reaching out to professors for help and showing interest in what they had to talk about, because a lot of professors on campus actually do their own research. And that was something I was really interested in. And so I just took the first initiative and actually reached out to one of my favorite professors and asked her if I could be on her research team, and she allowed me to. And now I'm a research assistant for her. So my biggest advice is just don't be afraid of being told no or making that first step. Just go for it, because I promise you, you will not be disappointed by the result either way. And I'll hand it back to Jamie now.
Thank you all. Awesome. All right. So we got some time here to get into some questions. So the first question I'd like to answer live, this one's going to be for Daniel. How is social life if you live off campus?
Yeah, so that's a little bit like I was touching on before, trying to get engaged from day one. So one of the things that we do during orientation week is have a specific mixer for commuter students so that they can get engaged, you know, from day one, from the first instance of coming to campus, and trying to get comfortable with it right now. And that is not only just the goal of that particular event, but also the entire goal of the week, right? From there, there's always events. You can get into clubs, you can get into research, you can get an on-campus job. It really is, like I said, again, putting in the effort to try to get onto campus. I'm not going to lie, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for us commuters because, you know, we're not living on campus. It's not as easy, but that is a universal kind of issue kind of facing us. That's not particular to Chapman or any one university. So with that in mind, really making sure that you're putting in the effort to get connected, making in those efforts to get connected to students, you know, your peers, to your professors, making sure that you have that mentorship available, asking questions, and just exploring around campus and everything that we have around the community. That is what's going to get you to feel really comfortable and make you feel at home. I know that's the key for me, you know. Also making sure that you're really connecting with people in the dorms as well, so that maybe you can hang out with them a few times, maybe going to the beach, getting a friend group. All that stuff is really important, but it all starts with trying to get engaged and putting in the effort from day one, in and outside of the classroom, even when you're just walking through campus or even online, right? Making sure that you're like, hey, how you doing, on a Zoom with some other guy or some other person. And it doesn't matter, just trying to get engaged, trying to make those connections. That's what's really going to help. I'll give it back to Jamie now.
Thank you, Daniel. The next question's for Dave. If COVID shifts, will we do triples?
Yeah, this is a good question, and I appreciate it. All the conversations that I've had with senior leadership at this point are that because the state guidance hasn't changed, and because we understand, you know, families and students may be nervous about, depending on how, you know, tight you've been with quarantine over the last year, moving into a triple space, is that we are committed to doubles for the fall. I think if anything changes in the next couple of weeks, then I've asked that we make sure that announcement gets out well before the May 1st deadline, so that that can be a part of the consideration. But I really don't see us moving in that direction based on the conversations I've had over, honestly, the last 2 to 3 months. It's been a hot topic of conversation. I think at most there may be a chance for optional triples at some point down the road, but we'll communicate that out, and we'll still be committed to doubles for first year students. One of the other questions related to this that came up is, will the dorms that have bathrooms connected to other rooms still be used due to COVID? And the answer is yes. Part of this is we've been doing this for the spring. We opened our residence halls this spring. We used apartments only for the fall. And we've found that we've managed the caseload very effectively. We've had a very small number of cases. Our testing positivity across the entire campus for students, staff, and faculty all spring has been less than 1%, well below Orange County numbers. Because when we were, you know, when those numbers started in February, Orange County numbers were much higher than that. Luckily, Orange County numbers are much lower, and vaccination rollout is going quite well. So we anticipate still using shared bathrooms as well. And because we'll have reduced occupancy on either side, we believe that that'll be a safe option for us in the fall.
Thank you, Dave. All right, so the next question is for me. Is orientation for students and families going to be in person this year? And the answer is, we're not entirely sure. Planning for orientation is well underway right now. And of course, we're still waiting on guidelines from the state in order to see what sort of restrictions may be imposed, particularly on large events, because orientation is considered a large scale event here on campus. I know myself and my team are itching that we'll be able to facilitate it in person this year. So fingers crossed, but again, kind of unsure on what that's going to look like specifically for this year. Our next question we got was, can you speak about safety and security on campus? And Josh Modgelin's going to talk a little bit about that.
Yes. So for the safety, Chapman has 24/7 public safety that you can call. And anytime you need anything, feel free. You can always just call. There's emergency buttons all around campus. So if there's anything going on, you can always go there. There also is Safe Ride and Night Walk. So if you have like a night class, or if you're anywhere within a 1 square mile of Chapman, you can call public safety and ask for a Safe Ride, and they will come pick you up and drop you off wherever you need to go, whether that be back on campus or to your house or to the dorms, wherever you need to go. So there are a lot of different opportunities for safety on campus, and very accessible. Whenever you need anything, any questions, if you ever have any concerns, you can always feel free to call public safety.
I'm muted. Woo, okay. So next question, what are good places to meet new people around campus? I'll have Josh touch upon this one as well. And then let's also have Ellie talk a little bit about this.
Cool. Thanks, Jamie. So Daniel talked about this a little bit earlier, but the involvement fair and club rush, like that's a great place to meet people because you're going to be meeting other people who are in clubs. You're going to be having a lot of opportunities to see what's going on. I know there's one of our biggest clubs on campus is Club 55, which is a Disney club, very, very popular. So because we have like over 100 clubs offered here at Chapman, I think there's a lot of different ways to meet people, but that's definitely a place you would want to start. It's always like I think a week or two after classes start, so you have a little bit of time to get acclimated to your college career. But Club Rush is a great place to meet people and get connected. But also like different study places on campus. Like I know before COVID, when campus was still fully open, I used to go study at Starbucks every weekend. So every Saturday and Sunday with my friends. And it was great to be able to meet other people there as well and to connect with people who I maybe haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, I also think clubs are a really good idea. In addition, I think classes in general are a really great way to meet people, especially people in your major. I think that's probably like the biggest way I met a lot of my friends is just through classes and getting to talk to them when we got paired with group projects or just sitting next to someone and striking up a conversation with them. You never know what might happen. So I would definitely say just talk to people in your classes, whoever you sit next to. And also just random people in general. I know that sounds really weird, but you'll find friends in the most random places. Like every single orientation week, they'll have like this readiness panel. I forgot what it's called, but it talks about like sexual health and like drinking and being safe overall. And I met my best friend just because she sat next to me and we struck up a conversation randomly. And I still talk to her this day, and she's just really my best friend. So I would just recommend keeping an open mind. And if you want to strike up a conversation with someone, just do it. Like, don't be afraid, because you never know who you might become best friends with. And I'll pass it back now.
Thank you. All right, I have two more questions that I want to address for the large group. So let's see. The next one is about Greek life. And I'm missing, okay, here it is. Is it a big deal to not be a part of it? So I'm going to have Leo talk a little bit about it. Leo is in a fraternity, and then Daniel's going to touch about it. He is not a part of Greek life on campus.
So to answer that question right away, no, it's not a big deal. I promise it's not a big deal. It is a blast if you are into Greek life. I've met so many people through social events, social gatherings, things like that. But just to answer that question, I promise you, you're not missing out. Just like Ellie said, classes, literally in the line to like Starbucks, whatever it is, close-knit community. Everything that everyone talks about, the small community at Chapman it for sure lives up to the hype. I promise you, you're not missing out if you're not in Greek life. However, it is a blast if you are into it.
Yeah, just kind of adding off. I'm not in Greek life, and I totally feel like I'm part of the community as well. And I even feel as free and comfortable with people in the Greek life to be able to go to events and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. And the big difference is very different than what is shown in the media here at Chapman. We don't have a Greek row. So all of our fraternities and sororities, a lot of the events happen on campus. 33% of our student population actually is involved compared to that 6% national average. So that big significant difference is because it's also community-based and philanthropic-based. Everything is a part of the community. Everything is about getting people engaged. And that is what makes it so fun for people in the community and not the community, because really it's just kind of opening it up to so many people getting involved. So I hope that kind of answers your question, but it's not a big deal. It's a lot of fun to be involved. I'm looking to see if I can get involved too, but it's definitely not something where you kind of have to, or it's not part of the ideal college experience. Right here at Chapman, everything's so open and it just allows for a great engaged community.
Thank you. All right, and our last question here, I'm going to have Ellie answer this one. Was the campus size a consideration for you when you were choosing a college? And do you ever feel like the undergrad population is too small?
All right, so campus size was absolutely something I thought about. I went to kind of a small public school, so I knew that that was something I wanted to keep where I could talk to my teachers all the time. But something I kind of wanted to change when coming to Chapman was that my teachers back in high school, they kind of just did the bare minimum and just dipped. And so I knew that I wanted to feel more connected to my school and have that sense of community. And when I was looking to schools, Chapman felt like the perfect fit because originally I thought I wanted to go to UC, but then I realized that I would feel this is kind of like a mantra heard all the time, but like I didn't want to feel like a number. And I realized that I wanted to be able to talk to my professors and get the education that I deserved and the experience that I deserved. And so having those professors, those one-on-one with professors was something that I was really looking for. And Chapman was a great fit with that. I can even speak on my experience here now, where just being able to walk into the classroom every single day and having your professor greet you and know you by name and like know your small little quirks about each other, that was something that I wouldn't want to give up for any other school. And addressing if I ever felt the undergrad population is too small, that was actually something I never really thought about. Um, I think the undergrad program is a great size. I wouldn't really say, yeah, it's something that I've thought about before. Campus is always bustling and the classrooms are always full. So I feel like if anything, it's like a perfect size because it's not too overwhelming and you still get the liveliness of a regular like big school. And I'll pass it off again.
Thank you, Ellie. All right, I'm gonna pass it over to Dave to kind of close us out here because we're just at time.
Thanks so much, Jamie, and thanks again to our student panelists for all your perspectives. Really appreciate all of the work that our student leaders do to support our new incoming and current students. And it's great that they are, I think it speaks to how much they care about Chapman that they're willing to take a chunk out of their Saturday to be here on Zoom when we've all been on Zoom a lot to share with you their experiences and talk about it. Amy Hammer from admissions, one of our great admissions team members, has put a little blurb there about a little bit more about the event. So you can see that in the chat for everyone. Thanks everyone, really appreciate it. If you have more questions about residence life and first year experience, whether that's orientation or residence life, feel free to reach out to us. Again, our website, chapman.edu/RLFYE. I'm gonna type that in case it's confusing because that's a lot of letters for our department. You can put that in your browser. You can come to our website and learn more about our programs. And we look forward to hopefully seeing you this fall. Have a great rest of your Saturday.